Welcome to Unbound, the podcast with Beth Curry, author, storyteller, and survivor. This is where books meet real life, where Beth reads chapters from her work and breaks free from the traditional audiobook format, diving deeper into the personal experiences, lessons, and liberation behind every page. Nothing is off limits. Let's get unbound.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unbound Off Script. This was a show suggestion from a listener, and I like this idea because I love a good conspiracy. If you know me well, you know this about me. If you know me a little bit, you maybe have a suspicion. I like to joke that I wear my tinfoil hat proudly and I have no shame, but it's not so much that I just fall into these rabbit holes and believe every single thing that I'm told or that I'm reading or anything like that. But I like to challenge my brain and I like to look at all sides of something and kind of come to my own rational conclusion about it. I know there's a lot of assumptions about conspiracy theorists and stuff, and people are absolutely nasty towards them. But it's turning out that a lot of the time, these conspiracies that they are talking about are actually true. They come true, or some people say, well, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's a spoiler alert, because that kind of seems to be the pattern, especially in the last 5 or 10 years. But anyway, I just like to go down rabbit holes and I like to learn about things and kind of challenge my own cognitive biases and my cognitive dissonance and all of that kind of crap, because I don't know, I just find it really interesting, and I just feel like I keep my brain fresh, and I don't care if I look crazy to everybody, because those who love me love my crazy. So today, what I'm going to talk about, it might make you look at every online interaction you've ever had with a little more suspicion and maybe a little bit of dread. I don't know. I'm also a very cynical person, so, I already know a lot of this stuff, but there's actually a name for it, and it's called the dead internet theory. And the basic premise is that the internet died about 10 years ago, sometime around 2016 or 2017. And most of what you see online now, the posts, the comments, the interactions, the content, isn't made by real people, right? It's bots and it's AI and it's algorithms just talking to other algorithms. And you, one of the few remaining actual humans online, are wandering through this kind of digital graveyard pretending that everything's normal, right? And I talk about how social media, especially Facebook, is an absolute cesspool. Just the nonsense that's out there when you compare it to how it was back in 2006, 20 years ago when I first signed up and a bunch of my friends, first started up on social media. It's a lot different. But yeah, just going back to this acting and feeling like everything's normal, it might sound a bit paranoid maybe, but does it sound plausible when you actually look at the evidence? I think also, yes, maybe. So going down this rabbit hole together, you're either going to dismiss this as a conspiracy nonsense, which is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. But again, is it a spoiler alert? Don't know. Or you're going to start wondering if the person you've been arguing with on Twitter is actually a person at all. Because this is the thing. They're probably not. And this is the thing. We're all arguing with people online, except maybe they're not actually people. So it's weird. It's also weird. So the dead internet theory originated on forum boards and conspiracy sites around 2021, though people were noticing the patterns a lot earlier than that. The core claim is that sometime in the mid to late 2010s, the internet fundamentally changed, right? So it was once this vibrant ecosystem of human interaction, and it became kind of increasingly dominated by artificial intelligence and bots and algorithmically generated content, right? And the theory suggests that the majority, maybe as much as 90% of internet traffic and content now is generated by bots, not sophisticated conversational AI like Chat GPT. My kid teases me because every time I try to bring up Chat GPT, I never get the letters right. I hate AI. I can't stand AI. It scares the shit out of me. But here we are. So we're talking about spam bots, though, engagement bots, content scraping algorithms, fake accounts, astroturfing campaigns. These are all terms you may not understand, but we'll talk about it. And automated systems just designed to simulate human activity. It's all designed to keep the few remaining real humans engaged. It's to make the internet seem alive when it's actually mostly empty. To create the illusion of a thriving online community when you're actually just talking to machines. So if you think of it like this, you walk into a busy restaurant, tables are full of people, conversations are happening, lively atmosphere, lovely, except as you look closer, you realize that most of the people are mannequins, sophisticated ones, moving slightly, maybe making ambient noise, but not real. And the restaurant keeps them there because if you realized you were one of the only 3 actual customers, you'd probably leave. The illusion of crowds keeps you there, keeps you ordering, it keeps you coming back, right? That's the dead internet theory. The internet is the restaurant, the bots are the mannequins, and you're one of the few real people left surrounded by the convincing illusion of human activity. Paranoid? Yes. Completely implausible? Well, let's look at the evidence. So I'm going to hit you with some facts that, regardless of whether you believe the dead internet theory, should make you deeply uncomfortable. So, according to multiple cybersecurity reports, somewhere between 40 to 60% of all internet traffic is bots, not humans, bots. Hate that word. Some estimates go even higher. Imperva's Bad Bot report from recent years suggests that in some sectors, bot traffic can exceed 70%. So think about that. More than half of all internet activity may not even be human. That's not conspiracy theory. That's documented reality. Now, not all bots are malicious. Some are search engine crawlers, monitoring tools, legit automated services, right? But a huge percentage are spam bots, credential stuffing bots, scraper bots, and bots designed to generate fake engagement. Twitter or X or whatever we're calling it this week has admitted that somewhere between 5 and 15% of accounts are bots or spam accounts. That's their official estimate. Independent researchers think that the real number is a lot higher. Some estimates suggest 20 to 30% or more of Twitter accounts are fake. Facebook, similar story. Millions of fake accounts deleted every quarter, and those are just the ones that they catch. And Instagram is also absolutely riddled with bots. Engagement pods, follow for follow bots, comment bots that leave generic messages like great post with the flame emoji under photos they haven't even analyzed. And TikTok, views are increasingly suspected to be artificially inflated by bot networks. YouTube, don't even get me started. Bot comments, view count manipulation. It's like these entire channels that might be AI generated or algorithmically compiled, right? So there's this thing called a reply guy phenomenon. I think it's reply guy. Ever notice how certain tweets get immediate responses, like within seconds, with hundreds of replies that all kind of sound the same? Yeah, those are bots. Lots of them are bots. And they're programmed to detect certain keywords, jump into conversations, derail threads, amplify certain narratives, or just create the illusion of engagement. And they're getting better. They don't just spam links anymore. They have profile pictures, and they have bios, and they have posting histories, and they look like real accounts, and they respond in contextually appropriate ways, right? So how do you tell the difference between a bot and a real person who's just really invested in defending insert corporation, political figure, controversial topic here? Increasingly, you cannot. So here's where it gets really weird. How much of the content you consume online is actually created by humans anymore? News articles? Those are increasingly written by AI, especially financial reports and sports recaps and basic news summaries. Product reviews. Studies suggest anywhere from 30 to 60% of online reviews are fake or incentivized. And that was before AI made it trivially easy to generate thousands of convincing fake reviews. Social media posts. With AI tools, you can generate months of content in minutes. Entire accounts dedicated to posting AI-generated images, quotes, stories, you name it. They are just in minutes created. Blog posts and articles. AI content forums are churning out millions of articles designed to game SEO and drive traffic, right? They're not written for humans. They're written for algorithms. Even comments, like if you've noticed, how many YouTube or Reddit comments seem slightly off, grammatically correct, but weirdly generic, topically relevant, but somehow hollow. Yeah, some of those are AI, and the percentage is growing. And then there's something they call the repost economy. Like, how much original content do you actually see on the internet anymore? Most of what you encounter is reposts. I find sometimes if I reshare something on my Facebook, that gets traffic. But if I just post something of my own, it doesn't. So yeah, most of what you encounter is reposts, reshares, retweets, TikTok videos, reposted to Instagram, reposted to YouTube Shorts, reposted to Twitter, right? Like it just goes on and on. The same memes cycling through every platform, and the same news stories repackaged with slightly different headlines, and the same viral videos appearing in your feed from 7 different accounts. It's kind of like the internet is a closed loop, just endlessly recycling the same content, right? And bots are the ones doing most of the recycling. Original content is rare. And when it does appear, it gets scraped, reposted, and distributed by bots so quickly that the original creator becomes completely irrelevant. Google. We have a huge problem with Google. I'm not going to go into a big thing about Google. And, I'm not going to get into it. I will try to keep this as generic and not opinionated as possible. Do you remember when Google was useful? When you could actually search for something and get actual helpful results written by real people. Now the top results are AI-generated, spam, sponsored content, or algorithmically optimized garbage designed to serve ads and not answer questions, right? Forums like Reddit, I don't use Reddit, so I don't know. They've become more valuable for search than Google itself, because at least on Reddit, you can still sometimes find real humans discussing real problems. But for how much longer? Because Reddit's increasingly filled with bots too. In my research, I found that there's something called karma farming repost bots, comment bots that copy old comments from the same thread and post them as new. There's entire subreddits that might be majority non-human, right? The enshittification of Google search is directly related to the death of the human internet, right? When most content is bot-generated garbage, search engines can't surface quality results because quality results barely exist anymore. And this is another problem that comes from all of this too. The echo chamber gets echoier. Is that a word? I don't think so. Ever feel like online discussions are weirdly circular? I mean, if you're not fighting, if there's not 2 distinct sides having a pissing match back and forth, it's kind of like you're seeing the same talking points over and over and over, just phrased slightly differently, right? You might be arguing with the same bot network, just distributed across different accounts. Astroturfing, as I mentioned before, is creating the appearance of grassroots support or opposition. It's trivially easy now. Like, you can spin up thousands of accounts and have them all share the same narrative with slight variations and create the illusion of widespread consensus. And that is scary. Real people see that and think, wow, a lot of people agree with this, and start parroting those same talking points. The bots train the humans become indistinguishable from the bots, and the cycle continues. Don't you find that freaky? So proponents of the dead internet theory usually point to 2016, 2017 as the death point. So I just want to take a look at what changed around then. So in 2016, there was an election that broke everything, the 2016 U.S. election. A lot of controversy around this, but a lot of what I'm about to say is verifiable factual information. This isn't a political thing here that I am sharing. I'm not sharing my political opinions or views or anything like that. I am just sharing information that was gathered through research and fact-checked and verified. This election was a watershed moment for bot activity online. Okay, there were Russian bot farms, troll campaigns, coordinated disinformation networks. All of this became mainstream knowledge. Suddenly, everyone was aware that bots could influence discourse, manipulate trends, and shape public opinion. And if Russia was doing it, you can bet every other government, corporation, and special interest group was too. And you know what? They still are. It's worldwide, and it is worse than ever. And then, though, back then, this was when bot activity went from occasional spam problem to fundamental feature of online discourse. Around the same time, platforms shifted heavily toward algorithmic curation. So your feed wasn't chronological anymore. It was whatever the algorithm decided you should see. And algorithms don't care if content is human-generated or bot-generated. They care about engagement, and bots are really good at engagement. And I think we all know why they care about engagement. So platforms started inadvertently, or maybe not so inadvertently, favoring bot content because it performed better in the metrics they cared about. 2016-17 is also when AI language models started getting genuinely convincing. Not perfect, but good enough that a quickly scrolling human couldn't tell the difference between a bot comment and a real one, right? GPT-2 was released in 19, but the tech was developing rapidly before that. By 2017, generating convincing text at scale became feasible. If you combine that with image generation and video manipulation and voice synthesis, and suddenly creating fake humans online became trivially easy. This is also terrifying to me because I'm seeing a lot of fake video content out there. And I know too from doing my audiobooks with a professional narrator, when I was auditioning narrators for my audiobooks, one of the first ones, I actually got caught up in his great big huge scam of he was sourcing voices, human voices, unethically and using them to churn out these audiobooks rapid fire and make a ton of money. He was stealing people's voices. And I'm seeing this happen in these AI videos. These celebrities are being shown saying things that they've never said before. And, it's happening to actual just regular peon type people like us as well. And that is terrifying. It's terrifying to me because who knows what's real anymore? And if you don't have a good eye for it and you just see something and you just trust it, that's a real problem. So yeah, creating fake humans has become way too easy. And that is very, very scary to me. This is also when the internet's corporatization fully crystallized, right? Small websites and personal blogs and independent forums, they mostly died or became completely irrelevant. Everything consolidated into a handful of platforms like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and Reddit. All these platforms had this vested interest in appearing more active and more engaged and more populated than they actually were. Advertisers would pay for eyeballs and engagement. And if real human engagement was declining, bot engagement looks the same in the metrics, right? The money keeps flowing. The platforms have no incentive whatsoever to crack down too hard, right? So I'm going to just describe some experiences, and I'm just wondering, anyone listening, if any of these feel familiar. So the deja vu feed, you're scrolling through social media, you see a post, you swear you've seen it before. Same image, same caption, maybe even same comments. Don't know. You check, it's a different account, posted yesterday, but you definitely saw this exact post last week and the week before. It's not your imagination. It's bots reposting successful content. It's the same content cycling through the same feeds over and over because the algorithm determined it drives engagement. You're stuck in a loop. You are a product. You're stuck in a loop, and most people don't even notice because they're not paying that much attention. Another one is the hollow conversation. You post something, you get replies, lots of replies, people engaging with your content, except the replies are weirdly generic. Great point. So true. This with the fire emoji. Interesting perspective. Nothing substantive, nothing that suggests the replier actually read what you wrote. Nothing human. Are those bots? Are those real people who've been so trained by bot behavior that they reply like bots? Does it matter? Another one is the infinite scroll into nothing. If you open Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, you start scrolling and minutes pass and hours pass. What did you see? Do you remember? Did any of it matter? Did any of it feel real? It's just content. Endless content. But none of it sticks. None of it connects. It sits there. It's stuff. It's algorithmic stuff. It's designed to keep you scrolling, designed to serve ads. It is not designed to be meaningful. Is it even made for you? Or are you just happening to observe content that's being generated for the algorithm itself? And then, of course, there's the argument that goes nowhere. You get into a discussion online. Someone disagrees with you. You make a point, they counter, you respond, they reply, but their replies don't quite fit. They're topically relevant, but they don't address your actual argument. They just restate their original position with slight variations. I just had an experience yesterday. It was the funniest thing. So I posted something on a video, or so, I don't know, it was probably political or media or something like that. And I posted a short and to the point, rational comment. I didn't say anything about my political leanings or anything like that. Got a lot of likes on the thing, a lot of support in the comments. And then this one guy comments, and he's decided that I'm leaning politically a way that I am not. He's just decided somehow from this comment that I left that I lean a certain way, and that's it. There's no question, nothing. So when I actually reply to this guy and I tell him where I imply where I lean, he comes back at me and says, "You young people, this, that, the other." This is a kid. According to his profile picture, he's younger than me. I'm like, dude, I'm 50 years old. Like, thanks for the compliment, I guess, if it was that. But you are accusing me of voting away. I do not vote, and you're calling me a young person when I'm old enough to be your mother. Sir, like, take a lap. Anyway, I feel like this is what was I don't know that he's a real person because his reply didn't fit, like I said. So anyway, in this situation that I just started describing, you keep trying to engage, right? You keep replying and nothing progresses. You're not actually communicating. You're just exchanging words. You are arguing with a bot. Or with a human who's been so algorithmically trained that it may as well be a bot. Maybe that was my situation yesterday. I don't know. He wasn't hearing what I had to say. I felt like he was talking to somebody else, but he was talking to me. He was replying to me. So I don't know. It was very bizarre. Either way, you wasted an hour of your life on nothing. Another thing, you might start looking for signs of actual humanity online. Typos, because bots rarely make them. And I know with autocorrect, we very rarely make them, but I'm amazed by the people out there who still can't spell words, even in the age of autocorrect. Weird phrasing, bots are too grammatically correct. Personal anecdotes, bots struggle with specificity. Genuine emotion, bots can mimic it, but not consistently. My mouth is getting away on me. I can barely speak. I'm pronouncing words wrong. I'm not a bot, or am I? You're developing a sixth sense for what's real and what's artificial, right? And the more you look, the more you realize how much of what you've been interacting with might not be real at all. And it's isolating and it's unsettling. And I don't know about you, but it makes me want to log off entirely. Now, I left Facebook for like 2.5 years, a few years back. And I came back at a period I didn't know that I needed my Facebook friends, my little group of friends again. And until I knew, I didn't know I needed it until I knew that I needed it. And now I'm just kind of in this space again where I'm like, what am I even doing here? I can text most of the people I'm close to on Facebook anyway, right? I don't need this nonsense. Anyway, so the thing that makes the dead internet theory actually plausible, corporations benefit from it, right? Advertisers don't give a shit if engagement is real. They pay for impressions and clicks and engagement metrics. And if those metrics are inflated by bots, ads or the advertisers might complain, but platforms can always claim they're working on it while doing the bare minimum, right? And some advertisers don't even give a shit. As long as the numbers look good on their reports and as long as they can show stakeholders engagement, the source of that engagement is completely irrelevant. An empty platform is a dead platform, and users leave if they think nobody else is there, right? So platforms have every incentive to make themselves appear more active and more populated and more engaged than they actually are. And if real human activity is declining, bots can fill the gap, right? They make the platform seem alive and they keep real users coming back and serve content and ads and all that shit that keep the money flowing. And platforms also don't just make money from ads, they make money from data. And bots generate data, lots of data, behavioral data, preference data, interaction patterns. Sure, it's artificial data. Data. I say I'm Canadian, I say data, but everyone I know in Canada says data, but all my American friends say data. I spell like an American, I feel like an American, whatever. Okay, so I'm just rambling now. Sure, it's artificial data, but does the algorithm give a rip? Does the machine learning model care? It's all training data. It's all valuable, right? In fact, bots might generate more valuable data because their behavior is more predictable and more optimizable. Um, there's a problem, and that is the illusion of consensus. This is dark, right? Like if you can control the majority of voices online, you can manufacture consensus. And that's where we are here in 2026. You can make fringe opinions seem mainstream. You can make mainstream opinions seem fringe. You can shape narratives and influence elections and sell products and push agendas. And if most of the people online are bots under your control, you can do this at scale without anyone realizing it's happening. And guess what? This is not conspiracy. This is all factual information, verifiable. You can verify this. Don't just listen to me. Look for yourself, okay? Don't just listen. Get a grip. Governments do this. Corporations do this. Special interest groups do this. The dead internet is a feature for them. Okay, so let's pump the brakes for a second, because while the dead internet theory is compelling and creepy, there are reasons to be skeptical. You probably know real people who post online. You've had real conversations. You've built real connections through the internet. Just because some of the internet is bots doesn't mean all of it is. The theory tends toward extreme conclusions that might not be warranted. Spam bots and engagement farming and fake accounts, none of this is new. The internet has had these problems since its inception, since the beginning. The scale might be larger now, but it's not a fundamental change in kind. We're not living in a post-2016 wasteland. We're living in the same internet, just with more, sophisticated automation, right? Once you start looking for evidence that the internet is dead, you find it everywhere. Every generic comment becomes a bot, and every repost becomes evidence of the loop, and every algorithm hiccup becomes proof of artificial reality, right? But that's confirmation bias also. You're pattern matching, and you're seeing what you expect to see. Most of those generic comments, probably just lazy humans, most of those reposts are people chasing engagement, and most of that weird content might just be the natural chaos of billions of people online. I don't know. Apparently, and I don't know how much truth there is to this, but I'm going to just take it and run. Platforms are trying to fight bots. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, they all claim to have teams dedicated to bot detection and removal, and they delete millions of fake accounts regularly. Is it perfect? No. Are they incentivized to maybe not try too hard? Possibly, probably. But they're not just ignoring the problem. Apparently. I have opinions, but I'm just going to go with that. I'll just benefit of the doubt there. Despite everything, genuinely creative, original human content still emerges online. Art, music, writing, humor, connection, it's still happening. I try. I really try. The algorithm might bury it. Bots might drown it out, but it's there. Real humans making real things and finding real audiences. So maybe the internet isn't dead. Maybe it's just complicated. My take, the dead internet theory in its extreme form, 90% bots, coordinated conspiracy, deliberately manufactured dead internet, that stuff, is probably not literally true, but directionally, it's not wrong. The internet is increasingly dominated by bots and AI-generated content and algorithmic manipulation, for sure. There goes my mouse not working again. That's not conspiracy theory. This is documented fact, okay? Real human interaction is getting harder to find, and genuine communities are being displaced by engagement farming and algorithmic optimization. The internet is dying. It is. Maybe it's not dead yet, but it is definitely dying. Not because of some coordinated effort, but because the incentive structures, ad revenue, engagement metrics, data harvesting, all push in that direction. Bots are cheaper than humans. AI content is more scalable than human creativity. Algorithmic manipulation is more profitable than authentic community building. It's all about the money. It's always about the money. Money, 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 money. It's disgusting. So the internet tilts toward death, not quickly and not obviously, but steadily and definitely, inevitably. And we, the real humans, are left kind of scrolling through the graveyard, wondering why everything feels so hollow and repetitive and fake and mean and nasty and argumentative. And because it is, more and more it is. So if the dead internet theory is even partially true, what might the solution be? First, we can seek out smaller communities. Big platforms are bot invested, and small forums and Discord servers, invite-only communities, they're harder for bots to infiltrate at scale. I'm glitching. Holy crap. So find your people, build genuine connections, and prioritize quality over reach. I have a Facebook group for this podcast. It's small. It's cute. There's not a whole lot of engagement. Same core group of people are engaging, and I really, truly appreciate that. Do I want the group to grow? Of course. But do I want it to get out of control? No. And that's why it's private, and it remains private. But if you want to join, the link is in the show notes. We also need to value the weird and imperfect, okay? Bots are polished, and bots are grammatically correct, and they're optimized, and humans are messy, and we make typos, and we ramble, and we go off topic like I do when I'm talking in a podcast. We're weird. Start valuing that weirdness. It's a sign of humanity. Contribute too, like create, don't just consume. The dead internet thrives on passive consumption and endless scrolling and mindless clicking and algorithmic feeding, and creating, like actually making things and putting yourself out there and contributing something original. That's the antidote, my friends. Even if nobody sees it, even if the algorithm buries it, even if bots outnumber your audience, create anyway. And here's a radical idea. The internet doesn't have to be your primary reality, okay? Go outside, talk to people face to face, engage with the physical world, build relationships that don't rely on platforms and algorithms, because the dead internet only has power over you if you give it your time and attention, right? Also trust your gut. If something feels fake, it probably is. If an interaction feels hollow, it probably is. If content feels algorithmically generated, it probably is. You're not paranoid, you're noticing, and you need to trust that instinct. So, is the internet dead? Not entirely, not yet, but I think it's on life support, and the machines have taken over most of the vital functions. Every day, a little more of the internet becomes artificial. A little more gets automated, a little more gets optimized for algorithms instead of humans. And every day it gets a little harder to tell what's real and what's simulation, right? Maybe that's the scariest part too, not that the internet might be dead, but that we can't tell the difference anymore. We become so used to interacting with bots that we don't even notice when we're doing it. We're kind of surrounded by ghosts, and we're pretending they're real. Because the alternative, like admitting we're alone in a digital graveyard of sorts, is a little too uncomfortable to think about. But, we're not alone. There are other real humans out there. Fewer than there used to be, maybe. Harder to find, definitely, but they exist. You just have to look harder and question more if you want to, care enough to seek out the real in an ocean of fake and artificial. Or you could just keep scrolling, keep engaging with the bots, keep feeding the algorithm, keep fighting with them, keep pretending everything's fine. The dead internet doesn't care either way, right? It's going to keep churning out content whether you're paying attention or not. Yeah. So thanks for listening. Assuming you're real, assuming I'm real, assuming any of this is real. I'm going to go have a conversation with an actual human now in person, just to remember what that feels like. Yeah. So until next time, or maybe if the algorithm lets you even see this, if you even exist.
Thanks for listening to Unbound with Beth Curry. Join the conversation in the Facebook group or visit author.bethcurry.com. Want to support the show? Head to ko-fi.com/unbound podcast. Until next time, stay unbound.